One of the ways to define luck is that you need to do the right thing and be at the right place at the right time. Speaking of which, in this video, I'm going to be answering whether this is the right time to start off with your aviation career and start your pilot training, or should you wait? So if you are ready for this video, then fasten those seatbelts because we are ready for takeoff. What's up, fellow aviators? Welcome back to the FlyTuber, flying simplified through YouTube. Ali Asghar here. I talk about aviation facts and aviation explanations, just like in this video. So if you are new here, consider subscribing. Students who are in class 12 right now might have a discussion with their parents like which stream or which course should they opt for after their class 12 in their degree or engineering or medical line, etc. But then they never have a word as in is it the right time to continue with their education and continue with further higher education. But come the talks of pilot training, there always will come up a discussion whether this is the right time to start with the pilot training or not. And why is it so? I can think of mainly two reasons. Number one is aviation is a very volatile industry. This industry is prone to a lot of changes. It's very unpredictable. Things can be something today and it can change very quickly. There might be a huge demand of pilots today, and in a span of a few months or weeks, their demand can absolutely become a complete zero. And the other reason is training to become a pilot is very expensive. If you don't know how much it costs to become a pilot in 2021, I had made a separate video on that. You can watch the video. I'll put up a card here and also down in the description. Well, the year 2020 was a perfect example for both these reasons. Pre-COVID, there were a lot of jobs and a lot of demand for pilots. Those who have got their job in that season know what I'm talking about. And come this COVID, and once the COVID hit, after this COVID situation, the demand of pilots was absolutely nil. In fact, there were a lot of layoffs of already pilots who were already flying with the airlines. And also talking about the expenses, which was our second reason, the expenses of becoming a pilot before COVID were something else, and after COVID the prices have inflated a lot. So let's get back to our basic question, which is it the right time to start your CPL training and your pilot career or not? Before I answer the question, first things first, I want to let you know that these discussions and these insights and suggestions are all my personal suggestions, and I am in no way responsible for any mishaps in the career, or anybody shouldn't be holding me accountable for anything if things don't pan out in the way that they think that it will be happening with their aviation career. It's just my personal insights and my personal inputs. With that out of the way, let's continue with my answer to whether it is the right time to start with pilot training or not. And the answer to that, which I give if anybody asks me right now, is it boils down to the availability of funds. Do you have the money to fund your training, entire of your training, that is your CPL, your type rating, airline training and everything, without imposing any risks? And what I mean by that is without taking huge amount of loans or selling out and lot of property or land, etc., or spending the very little savings that your parents had, right? Without risks. If you have the money to fund your training, then by all means, without wasting any more time, you should start off with your pilot training as soon as possible. And even if you have partial amount of your training and you can somehow arrange the other half of your pilot training, even in that case, without wasting time, you should start off with your pilot training right away. To support what I suggested right now, the reasons behind that is, firstly, CPL training takes at least 1.5 to 2 years. So once you are done with your training, it'll be 2 years from now, and the market, as I said, is volatile. It's prone to a lot of changes. It might change for better, and jobs might come up, and you will be really thankful for this decision that you took today, and you might land up a job and really live the life that you have already dreamt of. But secondly, even if the market doesn't improve and there aren't much airline jobs, still you can do a lot of different jobs with your CPL. Like you can become a flight instructor, you can become a ground instructor, you can be a sim instructor, you can teach the subjects in a ground school, or you can fly for charter services, etc. Anyhow, I have talked about the different possibilities after you have CPL in my video, the part 3 video of how to become a pilot series. I'll link the whole series up here, so if you might want to watch the entire playlist out, it's up to you. But still, it's in the third part wherein I talk about the different possibilities after your CPL, of different possibilities and different jobs that you can do if you have a CPL. Finally, let's say that the aviation market didn't improve at all, and that's the worst case scenario wherein, forget about the airline job, there aren't even jobs in flight schools as flight instructors as well. In that case also, you are giving yourself a lot of time because your CPL is valid for 5 years, and the market might improve in those 5 years and you might end up with an airline job. The only thing that you might want to worry of is your recency and your IR, etc. But still, that is nothing to worry about because most of the vacancies that airlines come up, they don't require you to be current and your IR to be current. But still, if at all any such vacancy comes up where it requires these things, then it would cost you anywhere about 1 to 1.5 lakh. That's the most that you're looking at to spend to get your recency back and then appear in the vacancy and maybe land up a job. Now let's think that we are absolutely unlucky and even in those 5 years the aviation industry didn't improve, which is highly unlikely though, because looking at the current numbers of highly increasing passenger loads and there are a lot of people traveling right now. But still, even if after 5 years you don't end up a job, you only have to spend about 2 to 3 lakhs maximum. In those days it will go up to 3 lakhs at the most to get your CPL renewed, and the CPL will be renewed for another 5 years. So look at the amount of time. I'm talking about 12 years from now. 2 years in your training, 5 years will be your CPL validity, and even if then you don't get a job, you spend about 2 to 3 lakh rupees extra, and then you get your CPL renewed and you give another 5 years. That's a total 12 years, which is a lot. And like I said again, aviation is a very lucrative business, right? So in both ways, if it is down right now, the aviation market might improve in this 12 years, and there is a high probability of that thing happening and you landing and ending up a job in an airline. Well, now you might tell me that, come on, I don't fall under any of those categories. I am absolutely broke. I cannot afford pilot training right now, and even if I would go through loan or something. Then what do I have to tell and suggest you guys? I suggest you guys that wait for a little bit. I'm not asking you to wait for 5 years or 10 years like that, but wait for about 6 months to a year at the most, because by this time you will be getting a fair enough idea of the changes in aviation market, because COVID has its own hit on aviation, but still it is doing good. It has recovering at a really good pace, and 6 months or 1 year down the line it will be really clear and you will get to know if airlines will come up with vacancies or not, because if airlines are bringing in new aircraft, for example, and there are other pilots retiring and many different things, you will get more clarity after 6 months or 1 year from now as to whether you should start off with your pilot training or not. Why I suggest you to wait is just waiting for 6 months to 1 year won't do much harm, but finding yourself in a situation wherein you take up a loan, do your training, but there isn't any job once you get your CPL, then you will be under a lot of financial burden. There will be EMIs that you need to pay with interest, a lot of money that you have to repay, and there won't be any job to support all that. But don't get upset or disheartened, and don't detach yourself totally away from aviation, and keep yourself updated, keep yourself posted with the latest happenings within aviation industry, what airlines are ordering aircraft, bringing in new aircraft, and follow the Instagram pages or social media handles of these airlines, and keep going and looking up keep showing up on their career pages of these airlines, and you will know and have a good and fair enough idea about the changes in aviation industry, and accordingly you can take decision 6 months to 1 year down the line. To summarize it then, I really boil it down to the availability of funds without risk. If you have that, you should start your training right away. If you don't, and if you have to take a loan, etc., then in that case I suggest you to wait. Now if you ask what would have I done had I been in your situation, like absolutely no money but still with a loan or something, then being in the industry, I know for now that aviation industry is improving. Then there are high chances of the industry improving and getting more jobs rather than it declining, and which is what I'm sharing with you guys, so you also know. With that data, I would have really risked it because I really love flying. It is my passion. So if you think yourself to be so passionate about aviation, then I think you might risk and go, but this is what I would have done. It's purely what I would have done had I been in your place. I would have risked it and I would have gone ahead with aviation and flying. Why, if you ask? The thing is, I would have rather preferred myself be in a situation wherein I am ready with the documents, with my license for any vacancy to come up, rather than being in a position wherein vacancy has come up and I did not even start my career, and then looking at these vacancies, I start my aviation career, which will take another 2 years. And I told you, right, aviation is a very volatile business. 2 years from then, maybe aviation might crash, and as fate might, I don't know about my luck, maybe aviation would crash again and I wouldn't land up a job. In that case, I would lose both a lot of time and a lot of money. So had I been in your place, and this is personal preference, I would probably risk and go on ahead with the pilot training. Well, that's it for this video, guys. I hope that this video might have brought in some clarity and made it easier for you to decide whether you would start your pilot training or not, which also happens to be the question of the day. Let me know in the comment section below that if you want to start your pilot training, would you start it right away or would you wait rather? And obviously, if you enjoy watching this content and this space, make sure to leave the thumbs up on this video and subscribe to the channel. Let other people and your friends know about this channel. And also, if you haven't done already, subscribe to the channel. I am gonna come up with some interesting videos in the times to come. Make sure to stay tuned, hit that notification bell icon. I'll be coming up very soon with those interesting videos, some different type of videos. Until then, take care and happy landings.